Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 43, day 2. It is October 25th, 2016. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. Support your knowledge in the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, yesterday, Monday, day off. Let's roll right into Tuesday, as we roll out the last week here in October. 7 setups today, possible 96 ticks net, depending on market entry, exit, and there you go. The majority of focus on the NQ, even though the ES had a nice move there today, and the YM as well. One trade that went in the opposite direction, and it was all, that's right, it was all about the Apple, pre-Apple earnings. So we'll get to that in a minute. All right, let's jump into the charts of interest today, see where the current trend is, and we'll wrap up where the current technical momentum is and where price action may lead us. Never indicative of previous performance on what will happen any given day, as you need to be ready in both directions. All right, here we go. NQ from the get-go this morning, kind of calling out the fact, looked like we had some choppy action, thinking that better to go from the higher time frame, which was the 10-tick Flex Renko, down to the 5-4 Flex Renko on the chart on the right here. You could see gave you some smoother entries. Again, you remember when you drop down to the smaller time frame, you're going to get bars that line up a lot quicker, and so where you might have one bar, you might have 4 or 5 bars. Doesn't mean you're going to get exactly the first bar that crosses the moving average, but again, a lot easier to get off 6 ticks, 10 ticks, whatever your first contract is. So NQ on the get-go to the downside, that was the decision for the most part, sticking to that plan. Here you could see the NQ on that nice move finally here towards the afternoon session, one of the better trends of the day. Again, this here on a 5-4 Flex Renko, giving you the earlier entry, wasn't moving too quick, and you could see the rejection here on the AD line here up at -25, gave you the clean setup to the downside, the technical high probability momentum to the short. And combining that move, that's right, combining that move also as price action sat underneath the 5144 cloud, looking at the order flow here, we could see price action again with the rejection, buyer absorption here at the top. You get the order flow to the downside, and eventually this move hitting the 24-hour fib level target. So very nice afternoon move on the NQ. And there it was, all pre-Apple earnings, and finally Apple earnings coming out. You could see a lot of the quick action here going to the higher time frame, finally slowed down, and then went back to a 10-7, and there we go. It's not about the whole pie, it's about a piece of the pie. There you go, price action underneath the cloud, which you could see here was pretty flat. And then price action broke through the T350, and there you go. You got a nice move into the close and ending up with all charts in sync. All right, anyway, going back and looking at the big picture, there was the highlights charts of interest for the day. NQ, again, I mentioned here, this was a 6-3 better, whether it was a 6-3 or 5-4 Flex Renko, that doesn't matter. You had nice setups to the downside here. Again, a lot of scalp entries, and finally a move in the post-afternoon session that we saw here. That was that nice move down again, looking for re-entries if you did. They were pretty quick. And finally, Brian as well just sat back and said, hey, you know what? I'll just wait for those Apple earnings to come out. And there it was, a couple afternoon session. That was that AM session. I apologize. There was the Apple pre-Apple earnings set up in the afternoon on the NQ. Got a nice lift here on the 5-4 Flex Renko, and that pretty much wrapped up the day on the NQ. ES a lot cleaner today. Nice move downside, about 19-tick move here on a 5-4 Flex Renko to the downside. That was in the AM session. The remainder of the session pretty much chopping it out. And the same picture you could see here on the YM to the downside there in the AM session. PM session not amounting to much. All right, as far as daily gaps, YM and ES doing a fine job at closing it out. That's right to the downside. 36.75 closed out. 90 will close those out. Also watch that NQ as 48 seems to be a level downside sitting open there. And crude losing a little bit of its momentum to the upside as crude pulls back here into the 49th. Just cannot seem to get a claw in and climb back up. All right, talked about the fib levels. Again, we got the intraday fib levels. Let's go ahead and take a look at those quickly. There they are. Price action to the downside, doing a nice job hitting those intraday fib levels downside. And the 24-hour targets, we could see NQ doing a fine job as well downside here. YM and ES as well. All right, so let's jump into the big picture here, see how some of the charts did. Again, here's the 6E. Nice move today on the euro as price action lifted up. There was your overnight session, pretty choppy, but 6E getting a nice lift here. Again, core charts, they're a little bit late. I'd say the better entry was to the upside, and then finally in the afternoon session, there was a really nice setup downside. Short setup underneath the T350 and the cloud on the 6E. So nice trend, smooth trends today. Taking a look at the GC backwards here as price action on the gold having a whipsaw of action over the last couple days. But here we go. Price action on the gold finally getting a nice lift and finding some support there at the T350 as well as the 5144. So gold intraday setup and trend to the upside. And finally, on the crude here, as we run into EIA report tomorrow, short setup, almost all charts in sync there to the downside, but core setup is the charts on top. And the second row, there you go. You got your setup underneath the cloud and the slope, T350 downside, T310 puts you in the short. Second setup for the day right there. You might have gotten caught on this move down here as price action started to move with 5 charts in sync. But again, use that order flow. That should help you out whether that started to be a good solid move or not. And so majority downtrend on the crude today. All right, that's where our current intraday highlights were. Looking ahead to the markets as we go into tomorrow. Again, what happened today, not indicative of absolutely what will happen tomorrow. But right now, technical momentum with volume just under moving average today. So not so keen on any price action determining where we'll head tomorrow. But here we could see NQ sitting up with that open gap up there. 50 sitting above 144, sitting above the T310. So we do have a pullback, but the majority of the trend still to the upside here. So I got to stick with the NQ sitting above the 50 and the 200. 200 way down below. Let's pull that up. Where are you, 200? Let's get there. It is. At 45.13, I still have to go with the uptrend on the NQ. I could see the pullback here. If we're going to go get the open gap 48.40, then we're going to be sitting back here in the 51.44, and I absolutely like that as we could see the pullback here happening on the NQ, especially after the market closed out on today's downtrend after the Apple earnings. All right, YM sitting in between the 50 and the 200, so I got to go with with YM and ES in an indecision as we sit in this sideways price action in between two key moving averages. Price action just waffling back and forth. You know, you get that lift and then pulls back to the key T350 here. We find support at the 50 MA. So I love the pullback. If we're going to continue upside, this 50 is going to break above the 144. It has on the ES. So I'll give the uptrend signal confirmed if we can get that ES back upside. We can get that YM back upside. Until then, I still see the support here. So 51.44. I'm sorry. I was thinking the T310 here was the crossover. I thought that was the 50. No, 50 is still below the 144. So I have to go with the downtrend here, but in a pullback. But more momentum going to the downside on the YM and ES. So I'm going to continue with that current technical momentum to the downside. As we could see, ES and YM had absolutely those setups today. And if we go back to the charts here, let's take a look at the YM again, or the ES. There it was to the downside. So big picture is still to the downside on a 4-hour chart. And there were your two key setups to the downside here as we saw price action come down to match that bigger picture. So right now, again, downtrend, YM and ES. All right, taking a look at the crude again. We're seeing that pullback. If the pullback is to continue, 50 above 200. Here we could see price action now inside the 50, 144 gap. If price action breaks under the 144, Still got to go with the uptrend as price action is 50 above the 144. That's the determinant that the current trend for the short term is upside. But I'll look to the 50. If I've broken the key levels on the 4-hour chart, I'll look to the daily chart for support, 50 or 200, all the way down to 43.43. But we haven't gotten down there for a while. So I'm going still with the uptrend. Love to see crude find that support here on the 144 and lift back up. But again, I'm not indicative of that. Got to watch what the market's going to do. Intraday, got to be ready in both directions. Gold, I got to go with the downside still as price action just waffling here at the 200, underneath the 50, 50 below the 144, sitting inside this gap. If gold breaks upside above the 144 and holds above the 200, then I'll give the momentum some energy, but I will say watch for that 50 upside and then watch for the 50 to cross the 144. We know gold could do some pullbacks, which then would eventually pull back once again to these key moving averages. But I still got to go with the downtrend on gold, and on the bonds I got to go with the downtrend as well. But I found support here at the T350, which is looks good. But remember, we're still seeing between the 50 and the 200 on the daily. So downtrend on the bonds, downtrend on the gold. And to finally wrap it up, EMD Midcap 400, similar picture as we saw on the ES, sitting downside 50 below 144. So I got to go with the downtrend on the midcaps, and you can see deep in the red here, 50 below 144 on the 6E euro. Even after that nice move today, price action found resistance up here on October 20th, sitting downside. Got to go with the 6E ETF downside. Again, it's been for some time now. And then 50 below, in between the 50 and the 200 on the daily, supported by the move on the downside on the 4-hour, 50 below 144. I got to clearly go with the downtrend on the 6J, the yen. All right, looking ahead to tomorrow as we head in, we got some Red Star events, international trade. We got new home sales, petroleum. Also leading out Thursday with durable goods and jobless claims, and to wrap up the week with GDP. Don't forget, on Thursday we have the Amazon and we have Alphabet Google on Thursday. So we'll see what happens, how that's going to affect the NASDAQ overall. We are in full-fledged earning seasons. All right, that concludes today's daily trend for October 25th. Feel free to stop by tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra, one simple strategy, any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. Hey guys, you can find me every day on Twitter. Here you go at Trading Fibs. And as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts. And as always, leave your buys at the door when trading. If this is your first time watching the video, if you'd love to come and watch us in the trading room and see what we do every day, please feel free to send me an email, david@tradingfibs.com. We'll get you in on a Thursday and Friday. Never know, maybe Thursday might be a choppy session. That way you can get in 2 days and check it out. Hey guys, if I've forgotten anything, I'm sure I'll get that out there on the social media. Otherwise, keep your heads up, and hey, what a week we got going. Have yourselves a Blue Zone day wherever you may be. Good day, good night, hey, and good trading to you.